seeing things like the Ahri, the LeBlanc, the Syndra, Ryze, very highly contested picks so that you can get these shoves, get these roams, and set up tower dives so that you can get control over very important objectives.
That's right. Well, how about this? The most important draft Solary have the entire split.
Yep.
And they're going to have to draft well here, as they're going to be on the red side. Misfits, of course, here on blue. And already banning out the Leona, Scarlet, Syndra here, getting that out of the mix, and rightly so. Get rid of Zeri. I like that here, Solary. Make sure Woolite is not getting on that champion, or else I'm chalking my predictions. So good ban here right away.
Right, then the Tinks ban there with the Hecarim is also really nice. It's risen in priority, but he was one of the few junglers who brought it out early into the split when we were like, Hecarim? And then, oh, Hecarim. Yeah, exactly. So Tinks getting that ban makes a lot of sense, and I like that from Misfits. They're already taking away some of the early strong picks there, and you're probably going to see them first pick something like that, I think. It's because all the 80 carries are left. They're probably fine giving Woolite whatever hyper carry is left. I think you're okay giving Azza, Jinx, or Aphelios, and you just want to prioritize something like Ryze, maybe. I think he's risen very much, no pun intended, in priority, so you can, again, set up roams, set up control over a priority and vision across neutral objectives.
All right, Misfits, what are you looking at first picking here? Might just be a trade of the 80 carries, as we typically see it here in the meta. They want to get the Jinx, and that will be the case. So Woolite will have the Jinx to work with. Other hand here, maybe we get a seal back. Thresh immediately locked in, followed up here by a Volibear in the jungle as well.
The thing is, we kind of saw it yesterday. I'm not a fan of the Thresh Volibear as that support jungle duo. This is Joko and Steelback, keep in mind. They do work together very, very well. We've been talking about it all split, because these guys have been playing together for, what, 5 years? Something insane like that. Back when Steelback was still an 80 carry. Exactly, before he made the role swap. So they might be able to make this one work, but you are going to need more consistent forms of engage. I think the Tahm Kench is excellent, and this is why I'm kind of concerned about the Thresh blind. I don't think it's as good as people think it is anymore, because the Tahm Kench is just so good, one, against dive, and two, as this engage, because one, he can get that multiple long-range knockups with the Abyssal Dive, and it's just so good for some of this teamfight setup or follow-up.
Laning phase, though, you very much can be exploited. You can look for some of these 2v2 kills, just takes one hook, not a lot of movement speed, massive hitbox. But we do have Tinks on the Lee Sin. Not a big fan of that there for the Solary fans. We know what Tinks can do on this champion. He's a playmaker. He gets very aggressive. Sometimes he's able to find a bit of a flow during the early games, and you have to be a little bit scared here for a team that likes to scale up, get to the late game here for Solary. But Aphelios, of course, will be the trade in for the Jinx. So that will be the matchup here, Thresh and Aphelios, and now we go into phase 2 bans where Jace already going to be taken away here first.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Solary, you want to take away at least some blind tops there for Irrelevant. We could see the Akshan ban come through if they also want to double ban him, just to make sure he doesn't have any safe picks there, and they're likely going to give Keo that last pick there. Things like the Camille are probably available. Maybe you put him on the more Ornn duty. We haven't seen it a lot lately because of the Hullbreaker meta, but it could be something they go towards as well, because again, I want to see more consistent long-range engage for this team, just because of the fact that you want to be playing, one, for the Aphelios, and two, we don't want to see what happened to Misfits yesterday, because they ran this exact jungle support duo, and in those mid to late game team fights, things were not working out.
They definitely were not. Akshan actually banned away for Solary. They don't want Misfits to pick this up here, which means that they're also not interested in any kind of a first pick. So what are they going to look for here? As Tryndamere is also going to be banned away, I think this is great. Make sure this champion is not going to be pressuring the side lanes and being impactful, taking out the carries in the team fights. And now it's a matter of, what are you likely going to blind for Keo, or are they going to save the counter pick for Keo? And yes, they will. So it will be Ahri that's going to come into play here.
Right, she's risen up in priority. You ban away the Syndra, which I think is honestly her hardest matchup, and even that one is pretty even. So the only thing left, I think, really on the side of Misfits is probably something like the Ryze. There's some probably other ones they could go for here. AD picks if they want to get really mixy with it for Chayak, but I think they want to keep it simple for this one, and that's why you see the Ryze hover. It's probably going to get locked in there, and there is going to be that battle for mid priority, as we have been highlighting a lot the last couple of days here. And as for top lane, there's probably a handful of picks that we could see Irrelevant go for. We could honestly see something like the Kennen pop back up there. It is, I think, a pretty safe blind considering things like the Jace are taken away. Or you know what I just realized? Gwen is still on the table.
Gwen is
still made it through the draft.
Could we get a Keo on Gwen?
We could.
Oh, that'd make me really excited.
Yeah, I think we should. I mean, it's tough because I want Solary to have that more engage angle, something that can get them through these team fights, can start these things off reliably and consistently to deal with what we're going to see from that Gnar pick. But also, Gwen is broken, bro. Turbo Astro Piss broken.
It is, it's a pretty strong pick. Not too bad, but okay.
Ooh.
All right, I like this right here. You know why I like this?
Why do you like it? Talk to me.
I like this because last time Keo did not have a good performance on the
You're
Aurelia.
right.
And it very well actually costed them the game. But you know what this screams? This screams confidence.
I like it.
You have a game you have to win. And Keo says, give me Aurelia.
Yeah.
I love this, and I want
like
to see him bounce back
I'm
here.
not going to lie.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. Game number 1, last day of the regular split here in spring. And it's a must-win right off the bat for Solary. They have to win this and then have to hope Gamers Origin lose their game a little later on. But Misfits Premier, they could spoil it all and get their 11th win.
That's right. Misfits have to know what the play is here. Again, I see Volibear Aurelia into a Gnar. I'm thinking, all right, wave 3. Sorry, little buddy, you're going back to base. And that's why I really want to see Tinks move immediately, go from bottom to top, especially if we think about the 2v2 in isolation of Solary. You got to feel comfortable as the Aphelios Thresh, because even though I like the Tom Kench in terms of mid to late, in lane, I think it's pretty even. I think you can do a lot of work, especially if you're a really competent 2v2 in the bot lane.
Look at these cheesers.
Oh my god. No, this is good. This is fine. I like this.
I don't like this.
No, you don't like this?
No, I don't.
Why not?
Leave him be. Choco.
They got him.
Feeling the pressure here. Misfits Premier likely going to come away with a blue buff. A great start here for them. And they're going to be able to delay a lot of what Joko wants to do here in the early parts of the game. Tinks gets the blue buff successfully, and will be able to also take the Gromp here as well.
That is honestly really important here, because you mess with that timer that Joko was looking for. There's a good chance he probably would have been able to full clear or at least get close to it and move to that top side here. But slowing him down, forcing him up, already losing HP before he actually starts farming, means that Irrelevant doesn't have to worry as much, and Tinks is going to get that farm lead early on here, because you can see it. He's going to move to his Raptors, immediately move to the top side of the map, make it harder for Joko to actually counter jungle him and take back what was stolen here. As a result... Oh,
flash there from Steelback, not respecting the level 2 from Misfits bot lane, and not having the flash now is going to make things a tad bit more difficult. Steelback might have to play more reserved here, might not be able to look for as many aggressive hooks as you were maybe originally hoping for. But we take a look at the top side. Joko now on his 3rd camp will be able to get the level 3, but the wave completely shoved it in the top side, means that there's likely no play to be made, maybe just a cover. But you could even see Misfits doing an excellent job getting the ward down in the blue, so they know even if Joko had made a move for it.
Right, and this is all a result of that timer. Now Joko hitting level 3 a lot later than he would have means that you missed that window to dive Irrelevant early on, and this is when champs like Gnar are so weak, so vulnerable, and this is what you were hoping for if you were Solary or a fan, to try and snowball. So instead, they're going to use the priority to try and move in onto Tinks and get back what was stolen.
Joko coming from behind. Keo's going to set up a bit of damage here. Smite, I believe, did end up going over here for Tinks, and he will be able to get himself out. Doesn't have to blow the flash. Joko misses the smite, but should be able to get a Gromp back here, it looks like, in the top side.
Yeah, so good use of priority to allow the invade to come through, but it's a big deal that Tinks, 1, secures the blue and doesn't even have to flash to go ahead for the recall. So he's technically still up a camp. He still has camps to farm on the bottom side of the map, while there's really only one, the level 1 Wolves camp for Joko to go for here. So far, this has been a masterful early game from Misfits Premier. They heard how important this game was for Solary, and they were just not interested in letting them have it.
We'll have to work for this one here. Still even in the gold, but Tinks will still hold the lead, as he's going to be able to get all 3 buffs successfully. And now we'll see where Joko decides to go here. Wants to maybe create some early plays. He knows that Steelback does not have a flash, but Tinks is here to match. Level 3 up against level 4. Misfits bot lane will get to the river first, which means that it will be a crab at least secured over to Tinks.
And so far, it's been all Oplon, or rather all Misfits. Not Oplon, I'm already thinking about that next game.
Yeah. Hold the excitement in, Jesus.
I know, I'm sorry. It's Misfits versus Solary. That's what we got going on here. And everything's been going their way on the side of Misfits Premier, and you can see it now. Irrelevant starting to get the better of Keo in some of these health trades. And now, dude, it's getting brutal here for Solary.
Oh, Joko, again, is going to feel some pressure.
Look who's moving.
Smite not available for Tinks, so that should be a secure for Joko without a problem. And there it is. No follow-up there from Tinks, so it's just applying pressure.
What?
Meanwhile, Keo
my God, you're kidding me.
Tower. He's able to dodge a little bit there. Flash from Irrelevant. And still
they
the
got
first
him.
blood. He misses out on a massive wave. Irrelevant finding the first kill.
Oh, and that's so brutal. Irrelevant getting the better of what was a bit of an awkward matchup here. Both very poorly for Solary here. One of the lanes they could have played for, and especially on mid was another lane they could have hoped for, but Chayek is also getting the better of Scarlet here so far.
Solary certainly in a hole that they're going to have to dig themselves out of at the moment. And we'll take another look here as Irrelevant has a massive wave stacking, a little bit of a level lead, and goes for the dive.
Watch the stun. He predicted,
Wow.
See, he predicted the Blade Surge coming through, and that's what really did it there. No W could have saved Keo in this regard, even though he did a pretty good job at bobbing and weaving. And you could see it. He was trying to go for the angle there. If he lands that flawless duet maybe a fraction of a second sooner, he could have been able to do something, Q twice, but unfortunately, again, much like in the rematch against Gamers Origin, he couldn't make it happen here. Now, he's finding himself in a bit of a tough position as he's falling behind in what should be a good matchup here. And Solary, overall, don't have a lot to show for this early game.
Tinks looks like he's going to come out with a dragon. He's actually
so.
Getting a little low here. Look at that. No smite. Yeah, that's a head stack dragon. Okay. It does so much damage. Like, whenever I'm starting that one up in my games, I am spam pinging someone. Like, get here now. This thing is going to mess me up, man.
Yeah, for real. And honestly, Tinks learns that the hard way, too. It's funny because most dragons, Lee Sin at level 4, no problem. He's going to be able to solo it, but not the case with this one. I mean, the individual stats are certainly worth it, but he's going to have to walk away there. And still, there's a lot for Tinks to do on this this side of the map. He could go ahead and path top because he has camps there. And if he reads this play from Joko, he could be able to show up because this could be a decent dive coming through. Joko is not level 6, but Keo is. He has access to the Vanguard's edge.
Keo respecting the play for a jungler to just come roaming up here and say hello. Especially with no flash on an Aurelia, you are going to be in a little bit of a tough spot for the time being. Joko will reset behind him, tries to give him a bit of cover, but now we take a look at mid. And now Scarlet, this is where he has to try to utilize this Ahri pick, see if he can start to create some roams, maybe create some additional pressure here. The good news is that Chayek has the ultimate. He can use the Realm Warp, and he can still match a lot of these plays that Ahri is looking to try and make. But we'll see exactly if any of them do end up coming through. Blue buff will be handed over, I do believe, or maybe it wasn't started up just yet, but we'll go back to the mid-wave and catch this. And now Tinks, he's lingering on the top side. He has a red buff here, and it might be a 3-man dive in the top.
Oh, Realm Warp's already coming out. Keo doesn't know it yet, but I think he is dead on our screens, Austin.
All right, does he have an outplay? Vanguard's edge, the CC, the lockdown, and it is too easy for Misfits, and that is another massive wave lost here for Keo.
Keo is essentially, he's out of this lane right now. The best thing that could happen for this Aurelia is for this turret to break, and maybe he can hold that wave there a little further on his side of the map, but ultimately, it's Misfits who just continue pushing the pace here. They're up 2,000 gold now. Yes, they're going to give the opening away for this dragon to come through, but Fednar is certainly a dangerous one. We talked about how important it is to set him behind early because that's when he is super weak, right? But when you fall behind when he gets ahead like that, he becomes a problem, especially with, you're going to meet Aurelia in the side lane. The Snar's probably going to go Hullbreaker, and we know how much fun that is to play against.
Yeah, it can be really difficult, especially when you have a lead like this. Like, that wave itself, I want to say it was like, a full wave and a half that you just lost out on. No TP to get back there.
Nope.
You're obviously in a really tough position, and it's something that we've seen, from Keo in the past here. So he tries to show us this Aurelia pick, and so far it's being put in the dirt, which means that you have to look for, other opportunities here on the map. Someone is going to have to step up, and you're seeing it now 2 levels up here for Irrelevant. I'm sure the level 7 going to come in here very soon, but Misfits, they're going to use all of this top priority. Go for a Rift Herald. Joko is here. He could look at sealing away the Rift. It would be a massive seal at that, and Joko is going to get it. Looking for the fight. Keo also starting to dabble in a bit of trading here. We'll see if he comes out with that one in the 1 versus 1.
Soon.
We're cutting back to it soon. We're coming back to that one for sure. Trust me, we want to see it too. But a lot going on there. Joko getting the Rift Herald, and then a 1v1 that doesn't look favorable, at least right now for Keo.
Probably not. He has no Vanguard's edge either, so you got to imagine, there it is. He's just going to walk away from that one and potentially recall. I think it's a big deal, though, that Joko is able to snag that Rift Herald, so that's both early neutrals going over to Solary here, and Joko might be able to do something with it, because in that skirmish, he doesn't commit the ultimate, still has a dive option available here, could go mid for Scarlet, could go bot for Aza, especially with the fact that Woolite and Vander are so far pushed up here. We do see him recalling, so that could very well be on the to-do list.
I do not want to know how much gold is currently being sat on here for Irrelevant. I think he might take the tower here in the top side as well.
Oh my god.
Yeah, one Murado should get it.
There you go.
That's 600 gold into his pocket. One more wave. He is 34 CS up over Keo at the moment. I'm pretty sure he's coming back with a full item and some.
Yeah, don't forget a kill and an assist here. Speaking of kills, Aza is in a lot of trouble. Nope, Shield's going to do him a lot of good. The problem is, though, look who's here, Austin.
Okay.
The dive we were hoping for from Solary has been thwarted by a pink ward.
No play going to be made. And now it's starting to get down in quite a bit of gold right now. We're almost reaching that point of 4,000, and it is getting out of hand. Misfits already cracking the very first tower, all 5 plates. Keo is going to be left in the side lane here, but is just not going to be very relevant, at least for the time being. And we don't have a dragon up for about 2 minutes and 30 seconds, meaning that Misfits could look to continue their aggression, move in here if they want to, into the jungle, but it is currently being guarded quite well. I think Solary know that something could be up here, and Tinks will be spotted on the vision as he walks over to mid.
And then now we're going to see, taking our first look at the gold difference here. And this entire gold lead is largely on Irrelevant. Roulette has a nice chunk of change in his pockets as well. You can see in the turret plates coming through. Steelback really was hoping to land that hook. He did have help with the ward, but not a whole lot is really coming through here. And this is what I mean. It's hard for you to go for these skirmishes when your best form of engage is realistically either a volley bear or a thresh. That's what makes this duo very hard to play with and skirmish with early on, because as soon as the death sentence goes wide, okay, well, we got to walk away, guys. Or if you're pushed up too far when you were trying to make that play, you end up getting heavily punished for it here. So Solary, very much lacking in some of these engage options here, especially with Keo spending a lot of the time in the side lane for the moment here. We haven't unleashed our TP teleports just yet, so Keo can't join or be a part of anything just yet. So in this 4v4, Misfits have a lot more reliable ways that they can play, especially with this lead.
Joko getting a little low on that Rift Herald that was stolen away from Misfits, and I think he wants to use it in the bot side, but Tinks is here, and they will not look to engage on him. Now they do. Lantern is here for Joko, and can they deal with the Rift Herald beforehand? Mega Death Rocket going to deal some damage. Rift will crack, but it's all in the fight now. Steelback, nice play, but Tinks still finds the kill with the ultimate. It will maybe be traded. We do get one back, but going all the way in, it's going to be Scarlet, who's able to clean up too. However, this will enable Woolite. There's the resets. He's got his mid laner with him, and Misfits are looking for more, but they'll take the fight.
Oh, you can see it on the top lane too. Irrelevant is pressuring Keo so immensely here. He's probably just going to be able to easily take this tier 2 turret. It is all Misfits all day in the last day of week 9 here, and we're going to see it in the replay. Here's the angle. Tinks, as soon as the Rift Herald is done, he decides to go in, gets a good chunk of damage after that tongue lash to see if he can force out the ultimate maybe, but instead they decide to move in here. Of course, the Realm Warp means Chayek's going to get here at the same time as Scarlet, like you called, and he's saved by the Devour, one of the biggest values there for Tahm Kench. And even though Scarlet is able to get the double, which is a big deal, you're feeding kills to Woolite here, of all people. This Jinx, who we see time and time again win games for teams in the late game in this current meta, is someone you can't allow get all this extra gold.
And I think the big problem here is you need Aza to be online.
Yeah.
And, you know, he is a huge part of this team's damage. We know that the Ahri falls off. Maybe I'll hold that thought. Nice sidestep, actually, from Joko.
Yeah.
That Q lands. He's probably dead, or Lantern maybe has to come in. But, you know, just back to my point coming in here is you need to get Aza enabled. And now that he's behind and Woolite has his first item, already completing the Mythic here with the Kraken Slayer, it's going to be really difficult, I feel like, to match a lot of this damage when you have something like a Rise, something like a Jinx that just outputs so much DPS alongside an Irrelevant that's already winning with the top side here on the Gnar.
And the thing I was talking about yesterday, too, is the consensus between Jinx and Aphelios and why people lean for one over the other is that Jinx is more consistent in teamfights. Aphelios, even though the damage is insane, the teamfight is quite good depending on the guns he's working with. He, as a champion, does need a little help. Closing the distance, some kind of front line, allow him to get the damage because his range is effectively shorter than Jinx's. So in this team composition, Aza, even if he comes online, really has to play out of his mind to be able to get the damage off. At times, probably going to have to be the playmaker here. We know the Gravitum uses of the Moonlight Vigil is a really good way to engage in some of these team fights, but it's still a tough thing to rely on your AD carry for something like that when he's got to be outputting damage too.
Wow, look how scared Keo is right now. He has no idea. Is the Rise moving up on me? Am I getting Realm Warped on? You have no clue. So you almost have to pay your respects until you start to see everyone on Vision again, which he's just about to see. A lot of Misfits players posted up in the mid lane. And they will also equalize the Dragons out here, picking up the Infernal about a minute ago. It's going to add towards all this damage that they're already stacking up for themselves as they start to fight over some of the vision here. They are kind of grouping up, not playing to the sides, which is going to give Keo at least a little bit of free time to get a push.
And this is what he was hoping for. The fact that he's 0-2 right now, down a good amount of XP. The problem is he's also in a little bit of trouble. Lucky Tinks is more interested in the Rift Herald than an 0-2 Irelia here. So the thing is, Misfits still in a really good spot. You see the objective bounties at 15 minutes have already come on here. So Solary, you can see they know this. They're grouping up. They can't play multiple lanes at once. It's really just about mid and top right now. And that means they're letting Irrelevant get this free push. They have to try and do something with the numbers advantage they've gotten for themselves here. Force a play, Joko flash onto somebody, something. Because as it stands, they're just slowly bleeding out and they're going to lose.
Scarlet, you feel like right now has to be the player with 2 kills in that bot lane roam. What can he find? Irrelevant. He is getting a lot of work done. That tower might actually fall. Down. Scarlet is not going to get there in time, it would appear. And Irrelevant, one more auto. There it is. Another tower here for the side of Misfits. That's 3-0. The goal lead now 5,000 as the Rift Herald likely going to secure tower number 4.
That is unreal. 4 towers to none. Irrelevant is this unstoppable monster in the side lane. There isn't anything anyone can actually do about it besides safely clear waves as best they can. And this is what I mean. Slowly but surely, Misfits are on the path to win this game and end Solary's playoffs hopes and dreams here. Unless Solary do something. And you're right. I am looking at Scarlet as well, Austin. I mean, we saw a perfect example yesterday with BDSA's game. Shiko was excellent in and out of lane with the way he was able to find these team fights angles and always be able to either immobilize or just flat out take down the AD carry. And that's the position Scarlet finds himself in here. Woolite has cleanse, keep in mind, so it makes it a little harder if you do land that charm. But nonetheless, that is his job.
Resets now for the side of Misfits. Premier want to reset and come back out onto the map for this Dragon that's going to be spawning in a minute 20. It is Clouds, which feel like it's good news here for Solary. It could have been a lot worse. Could have been mountains. Could have been something else here, but you don't have to worry about it. It will just be Clouds. You can kind of concede a few of those as Charm's going to land right into the Everfrost. Joko comes over the wall.
Tower still on.
It will be Vander with the target, but they're not going to be able to find anything here. Ultimate used, they can't find anything.
Yeah, they didn't shut off the tower, and that's really what ruined the dive. There was no wave, so they were hoping that they could at least have a couple of seconds with no turret damage coming out. That means now they could try again on this next wave, but ultimately they spent too much time here, Austin. They're losing so much on the other side of the map. That's another 600 gold in favor of Misfits, and of course some bit going to globally as well. Solary, they're just falling apart at the seams.
The last tier 2 on the map.
Oh my god.
All right.
Let them have it.
They don't get this one. They don't get this one. Azza is just kind of responsible for more or less just staying alive. He's now, down quite a bit of CS. That second item, of course, completed for Woolite. Both summoners available. Going to be extremely deadly. Scarlet is caught without mana, has to flash, does not have access to that Spirit Rush. And Misfits with another nice play in the side lane, but can they find something in mid? Vander is here. Everfrost is going to land. The chain CC onto Keo. Aurelia is down.
Oh my goodness.
That's a
nice
beautiful kick. Joko also going to drop 2 players here for 1. They will be able to come up with a tower as well. Misfits taking more and more.
They're taking everything, Austin. That's more gold in their pockets. That's going to be another dragon under their belt. And Misfits, it feels like they can't lose anything. They are confident, and they are back with a vengeance after the game they lost to BDSA yesterday. And now, Solary, they're just getting further and further into the hole, and you can see the light that is their playoffs hope starting to die.
One more look here. A little bit of greedy pathing coming in. Keo just gets got out, has to sidestep the zap, but then immediately just so much lockdown.
Yeah, like, he has to blow the W, which puts him in place, but ultimately the damage is too strong. At that point, Misfits know they can pull the trigger and get yet another turret and a huge chunk of gold into their pockets. Now you see it, that second dragon's gone down, and that is more in favor of Misfits. And the thing that's so hard for Solary, when you're this far behind, there's always going to be one lane you cannot play to. They have to group up. They have to commit so many numbers, whether it's to mid, whether it's to bot if we're talking about Dragon coming up soon. In this case, it's going to be bot because the only thing to play for is Baron for these next couple of minutes. So Solary, again, with this numbers advantage, They have to force a play, because right now they got nothing.
Yeah, they got a hope and a dream of a steal, and Joko gets into the pit.
Yeah.
That is really what you're kind of hoping on. But right now, we'll see if Misfits even give him an opportunity. I can't imagine they'll play for a 50-50 at this point. They can just take any fight. They have so many ways to engage with the Realm Warp, with the Tom Kench. There are so many possibilities here as Solary are just stuck picking up the side lanes, still down by about 8,000 gold, 0 towers on the map. They do have objective bounties up, of course, so if they are able to somehow secure a tower, secure a dragon, steal a baron, that could be their way to start funneling some gold back into their pockets. But at the moment, Misfits, they're just using Fog of War to their advantage.
And what an advantage it is, Austin. Joko, he might be looking, but he's not going to find a single thing. And you can see it. They're not going to start the baron yet. They know Scarlet is on the side lane with no TP. They know Irrelevant has a big shove on the bottom lane. They can constantly hide in fog because they know once the blue trinkets come out, then this part of the map is dark. They have to check.
Might be looking for a pick. Tinks gets chunks, but they don't follow through on it. So we'll be able to at least put a little damage onto the jungler. Keo still stuck, farming under tower. Re-engage comes through. Joko over the wall. They find a target, but it is going to be Tom Kench, and Vander's able to flash away. Tinks goes in, looking for the kick. He's able to take down Scarlet as Jayak follows up. That's the ultimate here from Joko. Can he escape? Yes, he can. They do not lose the jungler, but they'll lose their mid laner.
Oh, God, they might lose their top laner in the process. It's looking like Irrelevant wants to back it up, but a really nice fight angle and really nice from Woolite, dodging the charm like that. He manages to hold on to his cleanse even though he has to flash for being too close. And you can see it, the team fighting is there from Misfits. The gold lead is so apparent in every skirmish we see, and now it just gets that much worse with this Baron Nashor being taken.
Oh, they shred it, and they might be able to find a big house. It's like a Q and a couple autos there, and that is about half of his health. Azza has to completely retreat. Lantern is there. Keo will be able to come away with a gromp, but this is looking dire to say the least. Baron now in play. 10,000 golds. Misfits, they have everything they need to come marching into the base and break it open.
That's right, another fight like the last one. And Misfits will say bye-bye to Solary's hopes and playoffs. But it's not over yet. Scarlet, you see him trying to make these plays. You see him trying to isolate Woolite. Now, with no flash available, there is a chance that another play like that could very well work. If Woolite is too overstepped and they take him down, there is a world where Solary can win a team fight. Is that copium? Yes. Am I trying to be nice to you who predicted Solary, Austin? Absolutely, but it's still true.
It is true. There is still a chance. A slim one, though. Yeah. A lot of threats. A lot of threats to deal with here as Misfits now. Here they come. They're knocking. Will they be able to come away with tower number 7? Oh, it's looking so. Mega Gnar could be used, but it was running out. So Relevant just trying to see if he could utilize it before he's back to mini form. A little bit of damage comes through. Solary holding the line. Keo gets kicked, but will not fall. As the Mega Death Rocket comes through, will get him low, and this should buy him enough time to come through for the inhibitor.
Right, and you can see it. Bottom inhib's going down. No way for Chayak now. Means that turret will stay up in the mid lane for a few seconds longer. You can see it. They're moving over. Everyone's committing to taking the second inhibitor down. They could actually move for all three if they really wanted to, Austin. 1 minute left still on the Baron. Now is the angle for Solary. Moonlight Vigil is out, but again, all they can really do with these is buy time.
Oh, engage here for Joko. Keo also at the front line, but he's very low. Ignite is ticking, and he has to flash away. Scarlet as well. Azza is down. 80 carry has been taken out. Scarlet's got nowhere to go. A good sidestep will keep him alive. But Solary, they get back to the base. They now look for the re-engage. Have Misfits stay too long? Maybe not. Jayak still healthy, looking to put out the damage. Woolite low on mana. It doesn't look like they're going to commit for the end, but they will find 2 inhibitors.
All right, and they could technically. They do have double teleport if they want to come back in here. Actually, that's exactly what we're seeing, Austin. They're going to push for the end game. With the charm going wide, Misfits can end.
Our 10 seconds here on Azza to come back off the lockdown. Keo will see the fountain here again, as it's looking like the end for Solary in the spring split. Misfits just have 4 more members or the Nexus to cut through. They'll take the fight. Irrelevant finds the engage, stops Joko from touching the lantern, and Misfits, they have secured their win in week number 9, and they will stop Solary from making it into playoffs.